And of course, this is the Sky Priestess, whom all of you should know by now. So let's go, because we haven't done one of these in a while, and there are some of you who have bravely navigated this corner of the internet. Let me just go a little bit over what Hello Neighbor is about, who was it inspired by, and what we aim to do here. So, I have been doing public spiritual work since about 2013. And in that time, I had a much larger community following me on Facebook, but I found that platform was rather toxic. I switched over to YouTube, and things have been smaller, but a lot more consolidated and a lot more meaningful engagement. So, to create a space that was not just about the incredibly heavy astrology of these times, I started a series called Hello Neighbor. Now, for those of you in the US, you may know where that reference is from. Hello Neighbor is inspired by the work of Reverend Fred Rogers, who some of you may know from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And it was a groundbreaking TV series, types of TV programming for decades that really taught kids about empathy and community and all of those values that people are really looking for right now. Now, whilst I make absolutely no claims to be Mr. Roger, as the man is a venerable saint in many ways, initiative, a space where community can come together and talk about things. Sometimes the heavy things, sometimes the light things, is what really gave birth to lockdowns that happened when the pandemic was first announced. Some of you have really found this to be I don't want to call it a guide because I would say this is more of a hangout space, but still, some of you have found it as a very powerful marker of belonging, especially in times where one has been forced into isolation and so on and so forth. So, and of course, the moment I mention Pluto and Aquarius, the internet has to go, oh God, is she going to talk about something? Yeah. But effectively, yeah, this is our first time for this since Pluto entered Aquarius, which was yesterday, and I figured it would be a good time to touch base with the community. I'll try to keep it light so the internet doesn't faint on me. I know I still have to do the aspects for the Saturn trans Pisces, and I'll also be looking at what Pluto is going to be doing in Aquarius this year. So, more to come, but that's going to be a pre-recorded video so all of you can benefit from it. But having said that, let's get into Hello Neighbor. So let's say hello to everyone who's here. Let's look at what's going on. Let's see what topics of conversation emerge through the interaction. So I see Mackie, I see V Stormfeld, I see Jack, who's calling me Sky Command. Okay, that's a new one. Sky Commander. I like it. That's cute. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Nacha. Good to see you. Good to see you. Um, I've been just avoiding for a while, so because I've really just wanted to sit and observe and feel through the energy before just blathering about. It's very easy to blather about in astrology. Astrology is a field that lends itself to people who want to talk but cannot listen. Unless you're actually doing, it's really easy to project what you think a thing is going to be as opposed to what it actually is. What people have to understand is that astrology has been around for a very long time. Very, very, very long time, thousands of years in different civilizations. But the language that we need to use and the energetic sensitivity and psychic attunement that we require to accurately explain astrology changes with the age. So the old words, not going to say they are wrong, but they may not be adequate to actually capture the depth, the texture, the nuance of what's happening right now. Which is why I've just been kind of silent, watching, observing, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to poke my head out of my hermit cave today and say hello to everyone. But yes, how is everybody? Is there anything interesting going on? Are there any burning or pressing questions that you may have for me? Sky Commander. I like it. I really like it. It's a great name. um, Gigi says, I'm so glad to see you live. You truly look radiant. Thank you so much. It has been a very long time getting here. I actually managed to get up and go and run an errand. So health is starting to look, a little bit better than it has the past couple of years. So I was really proud of myself. I managed to go out for an hour by myself, which was fantastic. Mind you, there were lots of little worried cats, but that's okay. And managed to get some, as people say, the adulting done. Which is very different for me because I used to be the kind of person who just zip zapped all over the place wherever I wanted to go. If I wanted to go to a different country to do some work, I would go at a drop of a hat. But now I've got to plan everything and so on and so forth. So, it's been a slow but a nice movement towards the start of recovery, and especially at the physical level. So, I'm very grateful for Pluto and Aquarius. It certainly feels like, for me at the very least, a lot of the burdens have been lifted. Probably because I have a Capricorn sun. So, I'm quite happy about it, and I hope that others are too. I know some of you may be freaking out, especially if you've got, very personal planets that are aspecting this, or if you've got a lot of 12th house stuff with Aquarius. I know that can be very scary. But the thing to really celebrate right now is that we are at the end of a particular journey with Pluto and Capricorn. Now, Pluto is not completely out of Capricorn. I sent you all a article which gives you very detailed dates and so on and so forth. It's only really going to be finished with that in November 2024. But this feels like a new beginning. It feels like a new start in many ways. And even though we're going to have periods of back and forth, we still need to be making hay when the sun shines. We need to be moving forwards as best we humanly can. Now, I see V Stormfeld stars. Guess who's taking their CSA trafficking network to court for his Saturn return like a dumbass with no sense of mortality? You are, and well done, because it's exactly the kind of vibe that Pluto and Aquarius is also going to support. So, unless there are questions, I'm guessing I'm going to be talking about Pluto and Aquarius. So, let me know. Ah, yeah, Gigi says, believe me, I understand the heaviness. Cap, Sun, and Moon, 29 degrees Pisces ascendant. This must feel, I hope this feels like a relief for you, Gigi. So, one of you asked me on the channel, and I do read your comments, I do read your questions. They asked me what Pluto was about. Well, basic questions like this you can look up for yourself. I'm not trying to be, prissy about it, but it's good to actually learn from different sources. And when I say learn, it doesn't mean you take everybody at face value. You just, have a browse, look around. Cafe astrology is really good for beginner level concepts and beginner level questions. But to understand what Pluto is about, it's the energy of the eighth house, it's the energy of Scorpio. It often gets summarized in very, I would say, very crude ways, but it is also the energy that has to do with the occult, the depths of your psyche, your most intimate connections, the health of your bowels, your reproductive system. It's about finances, it's about sexuality, it's about the commitments and obligations that you have decided to commit to and what you need to do about that. It's also about divorces and inheritances, it's also about death, it's also about surgeries, it's about a lot of things. But Pluto is also about regeneration, and it is about looking at the shadows within your own psyche and realizing maybe the boogeyman isn't that terrifying after all. I'll give you a really good example. I had to run an errand yesterday, and as I said, I'm slowly getting my mobility back. So for me, going outside for an hour by myself is a Herculean achievement. And I could feel, the sense of anxiety and panic kicking in. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I was in the bathroom, and I don't mean to gross people out, but there was been a problem with one of the drains in my bathroom. And, in my head, I'd been building up all of this, going, oh God, I have to go and I've got to call a plumber, I've got to use some declogger, I've got to do something. And eventually I just said, fuck it. And I just opened it, grabbed whatever was stuck out there, and it was done in a second. And I know it's a bit icky because it involves hair and all kinds of stuff, but it just gave me that little bit of oomph to go, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do what I need to do today. I'm going to trust that I'm going to get it done. And I did get it done. So, it's about also facing that fear and taking steps forward. because Pluto is also about what comes in the depths of the subconscious. It's about your obsessions. It's about your fears. It's about your ancestors' fears. It's about fears of people that you may not have seen in years, if not lifetimes. And it's also about drawing the lines as to say what's mine and what's not mine. So all of that is stuff that Pluto deals with and then some. There's also more that comes with it. Things like insurance is dealt with by the energy of Pluto. Things like alimony payments, anything that has a structure to it, which you engage in repetitively in terms of giving and receiving energy in some way. I should probably write that definition down. But that's very much what Pluto deals with, especially aspects of this that are hidden. So Pluto in Aquarius is a very different energy. Pluto in Aquarius is an energy that is about taking the deep intensity of Pluto and putting it in a completely different domain. It's the kind of domain that deals with social media, it deals with friendships, it deals with our connections with who we call our guides, it deals with creating networks of mutual assistance, it deals with what we call the collective. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff in this, and then there's going to be a lot of not so good stuff. And as with Pluto and Capricorn, we're going to have to face all of it. So fear is really optional. This is what I have found. The fear is optional, and sometimes you just got to reach your hand in and pull out the gunk that is in your pipes and get on with your day. But with Pluto and Aquarius, it's, I would say, one needs to look at how Pluto and Aquarius may manifest. Some people may get very, very invested in even more so than they already are, very invested in cryptocurrency, in AI, in robotics and technologies of the future, also in sustainability efforts, in renewable energy, because Pluto is also about energy. So this is actually a good thing if done with moderation. Pluto and Aquarius can also see a massive, massive boom in social media, in the way in which technology interfaces in society, and with that comes certain dangers. Now, all of us watching this, I guess, engaging with me in some way through the internet, have experience with social media. But what happens with Pluto and Aquarius is that we're also going to see that become the arena or stage in which many are going to be playing out their personal, their ancestral, and our collective traumas and fears, anxieties, and neuroses. So that can be a great thing if you are able to see all of this as a means of healing. Like I am I curate my Instagram feed very carefully. I know there are things that I like, there are things that I don't like, and I know why I don't like them. And I'll just be like, no, 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 I am only going to keep in my space the frequency that I really want to engage with. Because what I see, especially with the energy of social media, and I'm not saying this to be bitchy, but someone sent me a video and it got me quite hot under the collar. I see in more and more cases people using the language of empathy and performances of vulnerability to hook people. And that is something that pisses me off to no end. Because yes, you can make money. You should make money. You need money to basically pay your bills, to live, to eat. Doesn't matter if you're a priestess, doesn't matter if you're a facilitator, therapist, social worker, whatever. You need money. But when you basically put on a show to kind of trigger open a person's vulnerabilities, and then at the end of the day going, oh, you're so wounded, and here's the link to my program. Something about that to me is an abuse of trust. But we're going to be seeing that more and more and more. We're also going to be seeing a lot of conversations surrounding sexual identities as expressed through social media coming up. Now, a lot of this stuff has been foreshadowed by Saturn in Saturn in Aquarius's transit. A lot of the stuff we already dealt with Saturn, showing us where our boundaries needed to be. And Pluto in Aquarius is going to be testing those boundaries. By all means, engage in more meaningful, powerful, and directed ways in the collective, but be very, very discerning. The energy of the collective is going to be a gold mine for those who see it in that way. And those who see it in that way are not going to care about whether or not you actually get healed, or whether or not your boundaries were violated by a particular energy that they were putting through. I remember seeing, I was scrolling through something and I guess the algorithm shifted and I saw this extremely dulled and made up person just putting a crystal on the screen and blessing the screen and telling people that their chakra was getting activated. And I'm thinking to myself, oh dear God, that is not how that works. Certainly not in less than 30 seconds. But people are falling for it. So in this space, we need to be very discerning as to what we actually let into our consciousness and the networks that we engage with, especially through the years that are going to come. And it's a long ass transit. As I said, I'll be doing a more detailed piece on Saturn in Pisces and Pluto in Aquarius, pre-recorded, because I'm keeping my energy quite low at this time so that the internet doesn't faint. Because the moment I get intense, you know what happens. Things just go helter-skelter. But these are some of the things that you need to be looking out for. Aquarian energy is wonderful for revolution, for change, for really celebrating the individual and each individual's contribution to the collective. If someone is still in the business of making you feel like a victim for profit, walk the other way. Otherwise, you are going to be their cash cow. So that's some of the things, some of the basic things that have already come up that I've seen. Me sitting by myself, I've just been sitting there kind of going, okay, right? But then when I saw this come up and it's happened to someone that I know, and I just kind of went, okay, so obviously this is the message that I need to be putting out there right now. Lots of rewards, lots of healings, lots of connection, lots of community possible, but you still gotta be wary of the hooks. As I have said in a previous video, if you need to hook someone in for them to follow your business or join your program, your work is going to be hooky. And this is what you need to be very, very aware of, very careful about, whether it's with a human facilitator or whether it's something flapping its wings up there calling itself to be a guide. Same logic. If it is speaking to your innermost desires and fears in a way that sounds scripted, it probably is. So bear that in mind as well. That being said, people who come from a space of authenticity are going to find community, and that's a great thing. People who come from a space of not needing to make a song and dance of it, saying it as it is, people who are basically there to help facilitate healing and change, but in a way that is not romanticizing either the fear or idealizing the experience, they are going to benefit very, very much from this. And even in terms of my work, I'm also planning on doing some courses this year. It feels like finally, it's ready to come out. But I'm going to be very careful in not creating the brand, so to speak, in a way that encourages these particular hooks. So there's a lot that's coming up, not just for you, for me, for all of us. But we need to be vigilant. And we also need to be very, very careful with how we deal with energy, especially if we have a surplus of energy or if we are still draining energy from people. Now, all of us have done it at some point or another in our lives. It's impossible to have lived a life in which you have never, ever, ever done that. But people never want to admit it because everyone either wants to be the hero or the victim. But acknowledge where you yourself may be contributing to those dynamics and make the changes that you can make. Personally, I'm very excited for Pluto and Aquarius because I think that humanity is going to wake up. It absolutely has to. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. But I feel that we do have a moment of possibility. We do have a moment in which we are going to be able to make the most of this together. Together being the key word. And if you can bear that in mind and keep your discernment up and watch your boundaries and the boundaries of others, you're very likely to benefit from this entire experience. Health wise, look at the health of the ankles, look at the health of your neurological system. There's a particular account that I like following on Instagram. It's called Chasing Pain. Someone else turned me on to it, and it's very interesting to see them show you how to heal yourself. Different types of muscular issues. There's so much of information out there. Use it, use it, use it, and share what you have. It is well past the time of pedestals. It is well past the time of saviors. We don't need it. We never needed it. So, bear that in mind and see what comes up for you. Now, let me see what's, having finished my soliloquy a little bit. Let's see who else has said stuff. I see Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Congratulations on your successful surgery. I see Hollow by Angel. I see Karine. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. Now, any questions, comments, things that you might like to share? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'm probably a little bit more buzzed than usual. Not because I'm on anything, but because I've been meditating. Oh, and I see Adar. Adar is a very nice friend. And I was complimenting him on his videos on his channel. He does martial arts and all kinds of cool stuff. But I like watching his videos because it doesn't feel like he's trying to give me a sales pitch. Now, I will tell you something that actually, I actually was saved by something quite recently. So because I've not been very able to move, I've put on a lot of weight. And it's not so much an aesthetic issue for me, it's more of a functional issue. So I was looking at, and normally I don't normally look at stuff because I just don't believe that, your body is something that needs to be fixed or repaired so somebody else finds it pretty. It is what it is, and your body is literally your biography. And if a person cannot accept you for who you are and the journey that you have had, they don't have any business being with you. So that's always been my take on it. But recently I felt, to help me heal faster, it might be a good idea for me to get one of these fitness thingies, especially since people are doing some kind of offers and sales. I was like, okay, fine. So I signed up for something, didn't pay anything, hadn't even gotten a call. But then somehow I found a forum of people saying, hey, no, do not go to this company. And I kept reading, and the more research I did, I found that everyone had the same experience. The people who were complaining, they said, look, they keep making you feel bad about your body, and they will spend 2 hours talking to you to force you to sign a package. But what worried me the most is that people kept writing in as if they had no free will, as if they felt like they could not say no. And I was just like, one person even wrote, it just felt like I was hypnotized. And I was like, nope, forget it. I do not care what I look like or don't look like, but that is not for me. And, it was the power of the collective. If these people had not, had not written about their experiences, if I had not been open minded enough to look at it and decide to do some research on it, I doubt I would have gone into anything like that long term, but I would have probably had to go yell at some person trying to foist um, some kind of beauty image ideal on me, which I didn't even believe in to begin with. But this it was a good example of this energy in action, and how that same energy of hookiness can be used to target, target, target. Um, let's see. Okay, I see Melissa. Hello, hello. I see V Stumfeld. Hop on the note train to F that bill. That's exactly right. Paul says, I saw the video on the internet about a silent film star, and I found out he had a house in this area. I walked to it today and was amazed. That's awesome. That sounds nice. Karen says, Pluto will be in my ninth house. What does it mean in evolutionary perspective? Astrology. I've looked at it and gone, yeah, but that only works up to a point. And I'm really good at identifying the points at which things stop working. What I can tell you, generally speaking, from a ninth house perspective, is Pluto in the ninth is something that is going to ask you to look at the perspectives of learning, teaching, growing, moving that you have. And astrology is part of that. And with Pluto in Aquarius, honestly, I hope that you find a way of learning that where you don't require any such crutches whatsoever. At the end of the day, astrology is there to be dumped. I've said it before several years, even starting out. This is a field that has limitations. And the more you actually align with spirit, the less you can actually predict your path. That's often, to me, that has often been the marker of how far or how close a person is to whatever you may call enlightenment. You won't be able to read their chart at all. So I don't know about what other people have said, but what I can tell you is in the ninth house, it is about coming to that realization if you are ready to embrace that realization. There is no path. The roadmap to the path is not the path. The path is exactly what you do, and that changes from moment to moment. So you are actually the path to begin with. In a nutshell, that's how I would summarize that question, and I hope that helps. Let's see. Do we have anything else on the that you want to share? Any other questions? Could be on Pluto, could be on something else. Totally, totally fine. Let me know. Let me know. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is an interesting one. Lisa wants to know insights with Chat GPT influence on our lives. Maybe I'm old fashioned, but I watched Terminator and um, Skynet is coming. So that's what I think about it. you know, I really think that in terms of Chat GPT, rather than focusing on the consciousness of the inorganic, I think we would be better served focusing on our consciousness in the here and now. We Stormfeld Saturn and Pluto in the fourth. Book a session, hun. You know I don't give out detailed information like that unless, it's general enough for me to answer, or, I have to see the whole part of the puzzle. And I remember your chart, it would be meaningless to just pick that out. Um, Hollow says Skynet is here literally. Exactly. We actually have a delivery service called Skynet, which cracks me up because obviously someone watched the movie. And it cracks me up when I see the words Skynet is delivering your package today. And I'm just like, no. Savita says, so much unmasking happening. Yes, and it is going to continue. And it needs to continue. It needs to happen. We don't need to know the raw core truth of a person. That's their business with them and spirit. But it's the facades that get me, you know? Like one of the nice things that I've been following in the build up to this big shift is what's been happening in Hollywood. And yes, yes, I am aware of the deep, dark, dirty secrets that it has had. But seeing, Asian Americans represented at the Oscars was a nice moment. But for me and my brother in particular, we love Brendan Fraser. We always have, and it's really good to see his suffering, his struggle, the sexual abuse that he experienced. That it was actually being shared with people in a way that was meaningful, that was relatable, and that actually has led to a larger level of acceptance. Now, of course, the film that he won his award for was The Whale, which I haven't watched yet. But again, it is about using the power of the visual medium in ways to create new discourses, new dialogues surrounding things like security, food, presence at its most fundamental level. So it was pretty amazing. It was pretty damn amazing. And the unmasking is happening, and it's a great thing that it's happening. That forces all of us to take accountability for what we have yet to do. I mean, for me, really, I'm going to be using this time to finish up mistakes that have happened in my past. I say mistakes because I am a very harsh critic of myself, but I know it has happened for a reason. It has happened to put me down a certain path. But effectively, what I'm hoping to do and achieve in this period is to deal with health, deal with finances, and do so in a way that actually allows safety, security, creativity, and community to coexist. And that also requires me being truthful, me being authentic, me being aligned with the message that I am giving. I mean, I learned all of this shit really fast because my life has been utter and complete shit at a spiritual perspective. I mean, so is my brother's. I'm seeing him, he's just popped out. Want to say hi to everybody? He said my brother will come and say hi. So I'm going to be using this energy to strip back whatever it is I still need to do for myself and make sure that my family is secure and whatever new world order age is going to be emerging. Who knows? But that's what I'm going to be doing. So do we want Hanuki on the call? I think Hanuki wants to join. So here,
Hello, how's it going, guys?
my brother just woke up. So
Yes.
here's brother. Here's baby.
Yes,
Hi.
little baby.
Hi.
I don't know what Bai's been talking about.
Pluto and Aquarius, lots of stuff.
Revolution!
But yeah, see, you got it. Revolution.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see a single thing. But hello, how's it going? Hopefully, everyone is planning for the ethical revolution.
Yeah, other says revolution. Hollow says, you guys grow your hair so fast. I can't help but notice this. Your hair is long on the side, it's okay.
That's fine. I was like, this is my hair grows very slowly. It's just like 4 years.
Savita says, how do you trust people anymore? It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
It's a mixture of strategy and faith.
Yeah.
You can be strategic and think, okay, this person has shown no evidence of wanting to fuck with me, and all signs look good, but at the end of it, it's still a jump of faith. You have to feel something in the heart.
Yes.
But there's still people. At the very least, there's still little furry fellows that are worth trusting, and you kind of learn from that.
Yep. 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 So, yes. Other says for procrastinators, revolution tomorrow, maybe. I just shared with him a post that I found on Instagram. What was it? It was a nice way of telling someone that they're stupid. Wisdom has been chasing you, but you have been outrunning it.
It's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one. I'll send it to you. I send my brother stuff on Instagram all the time because he refuses to get on it, but mostly it's cat stuff.
It's usually cats that look like our little fellows that are
Yes.
doing silly things.
Yes.
And then I send stuff that mostly make fun of whatever she's watching.
He's really mean. He does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He does that. You want to bring Lucky? Lucky wants to come?
Lucky sleeping.
She's posing.
Same difference.
It's true.
Yeah.
As soon as I said Lucky, her cousin got angry.
I'm gonna let little Hanuki go.
You
Why am I not you?
can come back on the screen. Melissa says brotherly love. Yes, this is true. He is family. Aluxa sends greetings.
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 Okay.
Yes. So, my brother's job is to make fun of me, according to him. So, yeah. I got that.
Okay. Be safe, all you ethical loving revolutionaries.
Oh, hang on.
What's up?
Ada has a serious question. Why do most spiritually aligned or inclined folks avoid physical movement based practices? And when they do, why is it devoid of the exploration of aggression or stress? This is a good question to ask my brother. He studied with a teacher who taught him a technique called Iron Vest, and his way of proving the technique was to try and get his students to stab him in the eye with a fork. Because his energy technique was so powerful, no one managed. So, this is a good question from my brother.
I wouldn't say there's people don't practice physical techniques or physical movement related techniques. What I've noticed is a lot of people say spirituality is meditation, and then they meditate, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong per se with meditation, but they are chasing a particular type of spirituality. They're chasing peace. There's people, you can meditate running, you can meditate jogging, you can meditate playing football. Apparently, we're really good. Not a high stakes game, but just being in the flow, being in the now, being in the present. And yeah, some of my most liminal flow states was when I was doing martial arts and sparring, and it stopped being a fight and felt more like a dance. And that was, I don't know if I'd call it spiritual, but I connected to a better version of me.
That's spiritual.
Yeah, well, it probably didn't give me any like karma
So
points.
the second part of the question is, why do they not connect with stress or anger, as part of that exploration?
Because they're chicken shit.
Say that again.
They're chicken shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before. All religions agree that we started out at a spiritually more perfect and pure place, right? And then we either chose to incarnate here or had no choice, or whatever reason religion or spirituality gives, humans incarnated to a lower frequency or vibration place, coming from an originally higher place. And you have to ask yourself, what do you do once you get here? Religious people say, Well, we're going to meditate so we can go back up. Wow, wow. That was, you could have, that's a lot of time wasted. You could have just stayed up there, you know? But as far as I can tell, it is easy to be spiritual in heaven or upper planes or upper realms or whatever it is. But coming down to earth and being spiritual while you're angry, while you're stressed, while you are suffering persecution, that is that is something a lot of gods have never learned, and probably they might actually do their job at this point. So yeah, most people are chicken shit. Live in the now, do good things.
That's actually true, which is why my brother's more hardcore than I am. I try to go, well,
Your life is so hard. You don't talk about it though. You can't talk about it, but yeah, your life is like, what terrible thing is attacking us today? I shall be into it, its nature and identity, and then we shall play psychic detective, and then we shall talk to the team, and then we shall petition it. And yeah, yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
I guess. But, it's a process. I mean, the thing is that the truth is, yes, most people are deeply, deeply afraid and they use spirituality as a substitute for what they're calling comfort or peace. Actual spirituality is being, from my experience and my brother's very lived experience, is being able to connect with that aspect of your, you want to call it more elevated, higher, deeper, whatever you want to call it, in that space of absolute intensity, which is why a lot of facilitators are absolutely terrified of us. So much so that their fears get up the moment we just go, hey, so can we get a reading? Oh God, what happened to you? So, it's like we live that practice all of the time. And the thing is, when you get used to really working at that level of intensity, that aggression, that fear, that stress response doesn't feel that way anymore. It just kind of feels like doing the shopping. But to get to that space, you have to actually be willing to face it, and you actually have to be willing to see what is there. Because if people actually saw what this reality is surrounded by, they would not want spirituality. They will just go straight into some, I don't know, matrix type reality where they're fed by a tube and have happy, happy dreams. Actually, being willing to look at all of that stuff is rare, even within the spiritual community. Most of what people call shadow work is still navel gazing. But,
It's a good start,
it's a good start. It
but
gets,
yeah,
yeah.
again, people live in the perfect spirituality where there are no predators in the spiritual realm. Everything that glows is good. If they tell you you are Napoleon, you are Napoleon now. How do I know? Archangel Michael told me. What did you do? You went and exposed yourself in the streets because you're Napoleon. Yeah, no, you have to practice discernment. You, I see so many facilitators, and they have good intentions, but you know how I know a facilitator is can really see. They try everything before they try facilitation to help you, because real facilitation is like basically strapping on a scuba suit, pulling out a knife, and then jumping into dark waters without hoping that you that's drowning there, pulling them out before whatever was pulling them down also grabs you.
To be fair, the kinds of people that we deal with are people who deal with these kinds of issues. And most people don't have these kinds of issues that they are aware of because they've already agreed to keep spirituality to a certain frequency. This is the boundary of it, and that's it. But the deeper you go, the more you really have to be a warrior all of the time. And I guess we just do it all of the time.
Who is
And
this people?
you
This
also.
I take care of cats.
That's your great spiritual practice.
Yes.
Right now we're having ninja fight between Hanuki and Lucky. Grab Lucky, man.
Lucky baby, come.
So, but long story short, that's why people don't look at it. It ain't coming from a place of judgment, but honestly, exploring that level of darkness is something most people do not do. So,
I
you
mean, to
know,
be fair, if I had
um,
an option of one of these things, I would have probably chosen that option.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's
There were
see.
like job opportunities I could have had, and it's like, oh, can't do that anymore.
Lucky, do you want to say hi to the team and to the community?
Hi, hi.
Behold!
Oh, Teddy
Oh, she
Ruxpin.
blinked! She blinked!
Hi.
Lucky, do you have a message for the people?
Don't buy anything on a loan.
That was
Very
so.
practical.
You have been blessed by Lucky. Let's see. Stompel says I can do constant low impact. I crash after explosive movements. Constant low impact is still really
This is
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Magneto says hi, my beautiful sister. Late. I'll rewind later. Sounds good. Hollow Vegeta says confirm. People say we're between good and evil, but I prefer to think of it as a dance. They work together. Depends on what you're doing. Lisa says, lol, your brother keeping his eyes closed like he's blind. So funny. Why are you having your eyes closed?
I haven't had enough sleep on this, I heard.
He hasn't had enough sleep today. Um, Melissa says, when used like that, spirituality becomes a coping mechanism or an escapist drug in the hands of one who misuses it. Correct, correct, correct. Savita says, what is this concept of splitting of worlds? How would this affect most? Most people are, I mean, it depends what you mean by that, but effectively, a lot of people are in willful blindness. And one of the things I hope will come to the surface with Pluto and Aquarius is people will be forced to see what they are not acknowledging. I mean, think about it. With all the technology that humanity has, with all of the level of intellectual consciousness it has awakened to, if you're telling me that people are really enlightened and awakened to what is actually happening on this planet and we're still in this state, something's not adding up. There's still a lot of willful blindness because there is still that expectation of a particular idea that they're trying to fulfill. That this is as far as I'm going to go, and as long as I hit that, I get to go sit on a mountaintop. That has got to go, and I hope it does. Um, let's see. Ada says this is gold. I knew you'd like my brother. Um, Paula says, therefore, movement and forms of meditation come with more reverence as we grow spiritually. Sometimes we get knocked out of nirvana for a reason. Um, yeah, pretty much. People, when you actually combine movement and spiritual practice, it is very, very rewarding. I mean, for people who are new to the concept, I know there's this big thing on somatics right now, but really just look at what indigenous people have been doing for thousands of years. Same thing, less drama. Let's see. Okay, we have comments on Lucky. Very good. We just peeped at her name. Hi, Lucky.
Blessed.
Yes, Lucky is greeting the community. See. Let's see. She loves the camera. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's been smitten by Lucky.
Hunky, lucky, beautiful girls.
They are. They're very spiritual, deep beings who are the bravest beings I have ever seen, to be honest. But anywho's. So do we have any cool, interesting, excellent, awesome questions like Adara's question just now? Or in fact any questions in general. But it's good, and I'm glad my brother joined. It's a good time to greet the community and say hi. Oh, that meow made me all out loud. How cute. Yes, she's a very cute girl. She's a very beautiful girl. And she's very soulful. If I'm doing a session and someone is in a lot of pain, Lucky will come and Lucky will be like, can I help? So, Lisa says Pluto squaring the nodes and the eclipse is powerful. Yes, it is. It is. And, make the most of it. Make the most of it. Tear off what remains of that blindfold. I think one of the biggest lies that people live under is the illusion that I think, therefore I am. Because our thoughts are not what makes us who we are. The mental plane and cognition is just one aspect of being. One. actually allowing ourselves to awaken to the different ways of perceiving and being is part and parcel of the shift that needs to come. Let's see. Melissa says, I really appreciate the time both sharing your teachings with us. Thank you. I'm glad it is appreciated. We do our best. We do our best. And Unique Right says, family. Yay. LVX Magic says, if you have double Aquarius, Sun and Rising, how will this Pluto and Aquarius be different than for those who don't? Honestly, you'd have to look at the whole chart, but in a nutshell, as a very, very general level, you're going to feel it a lot more directly because stuff like, when you have it in your rising sign, if you have the sun in Aquarius as well, it's going to be a total transformation of all levels of yourself. So it's very, very focused on that aspect of your cognition of who you feel you are. It is something else when it's healed, or is that how you carry it that changes over time? Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both if you still carry it. Yeah. Oh, and we're back. And we're back. Anything else you want to tell the community?
There's something I want to talk about, but I don't know the,
Oh,
I can't remember it anymore.
I think you wanted to basically make me seem as uncool as possible. But
Never
no,
mind, we will
no,
save that. We will save
no.
that. We will save that for a different time.
Uh, yes, if there's someone who can make me seem uncool, it is my brother. He has a unique patent on it, uniquely.
It's a lifelong skill.
Put that on your CV. Makes sister seem uncool. But having said that, I think it's a good introduction. I thought it was going to be a regular Hello Neighbor, but no, I guess we're all focused on Pluto right now. And yeah, I wish you all the best in navigation. You've already survived Pluto and Capricorn. There's some months of it left and it goes back and forth, but you've got the idea. Um, V. Stormfeld says, take like 10,000 hours to master something, right? At this point, he probably has hundreds of thousands of hours making me look uncool. He is a grandmaster at making me look uncool.
I like to think there's a modern natural talent as well. I mean, but sometimes Pi just helps, you know. She says thing and then I repeat it back to her, and it's so much fun when I repeat what she says back to her. Okay, I'm gonna leave you so that Pi can, you know, keep her coolness. Bye, guys. Take care. Be well.
Do you see what I go through? Do you see what I go through? Then again, you know, this is also a very important reason why I do not have an inflated head. My brother would probably tease me to death, or sheer embarrassment if I did. It has its uses. Having said that, I am going to sign off. Take care. Very many blessings to all of you. At the end of the day, whatever comes up, remember that you've already been surviving shit since 2012. Whatever has come up, is going to come up, is going to come up. And you are going to do what you have done, which is to face it and deal with it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. At the very least, otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this channel. Lots of escapist avenues out there, but this ain't one of them. So, having said that, take care. Very many blessings. Ciao, ciao.